What's going on is the Wolf, and we are back with another episode of the Wolf Has Spoken podcast, America's fastest growing podcast.
The universe.
It's been upgraded to the universe's fastest growing podcast, where we encourage you guys to get 1% better every single day in every single way. And I'm extremely excited for multiple reasons. One most notable, if you're watching, you can see, we are back home. I feel like we've been on tour. I feel good to be home. I feel like I kicked my feet up. So shoes off for sure. The fact that we back home. And I'm also excited to be joined by my guy, Mr. Right on Q Live.
Appreciate that, sir.
And shout out to our sponsors, Her Fantasy Box and K-Pack Law. 877 K-Pack Law is where y'all need to go for all of your personal injury needs and legal matters, criminal. So if you're in the PA area, for sure, definitely get with K-Pack Law. But if you're across the globe, you never know. I've seen them make shit happen.
Make a visit.
Get with them. But, make sure y'all go shop Her Fantasy Box. And, yeah, let's get into it. Yo, how you feeling?
I'm conflicted, man. I'm conflicted. One, I feels amazing to be home.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the couches, shout out to the TV, shout out to the air, shout out to Ricky, shout out to the pillow, shout out to Ricky. We was spelling Ricky's name for a while. Then we realized
your phone. See, you was on the meeting the other day. Your call hung up. I said Ricky was treating us like the side chick. I'm like, you ain't laugh or nothing. I realized that you wasn't on the call no more.
Yeah, clicked up by accident.
Yeah, this boy. He said something. I said it feels good to be the main. She said y'all get first dibs. I said it feels good to be the main again. We was the side piece.
The wife.
Yeah, it feels good to be back home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so shout out to that. But but at the same time, in trying to be 1% better at all times, sometimes we as a unit go backwards.
100%.
And we get 1% worse.
I don't say worse, just kind of stall out.
Might be worse. I don't know. Just a lot going on, like flights, man. Like it might be
a
class action lawsuit. As somebody need to be held accountable. Like I don't know, flights, whoever the airline marshals are, but it seems like somebody.
Let's say the same boy that had us end the whole episode early so I could rush him to the airport.
It really wasn't early. It was 50 piece.
But it was a 50, but it was felt like it should have been 110 that day.
You 110.
You the one at the end of the episode that said, yo, we got to do this again because it don't.
I be saying that. I be lying.
See, now when I said at the beginning, don't believe nothing he say because he's a liar. Now y'all see.
I don't want to talk these niggas. We definitely got to do that again.
So to your point though, yesterday, missed flight, and it's so crazy. Today was so eventful that I don't even remember what happened yesterday as to why I missed it. I know it was a lot of minor decisions that I could have made differently, and it was like small things to the point where if I was 5 minutes sooner, I would have made it, right? But it's like whatever. I wasn't coming on a premise that I would have wanted to come on. Essentially, like I wasn't going to arrive with that energy because everything I packed, I had to go back to the car, put stuff up, go back again. They had to, I'm in clear. They told me I got to update my photo. They select me for a random search. This is all the shit I'm dealing with trying to get through this airport. Then when I finally get past TSA, get to the gate, they tell me we just pulled the drawbridge back. But luckily enough, they put me on a flight for the very next day at the same time almost. Then I almost missed it again today.
Yes, absolutely.
But today, so listen, I've learned from yesterday. I'm like, all right, what is the reason? And that's why I said I'm going to put people's leadership into question, yours included. Because I'm like, no, I'm going to tell you how before. Because, no, for real, we talked about accountability. I'm looking at it like, when I see you and Ricky, like, kind of got a deficit somewhere, I do what I ask y'all, how can I make your life easier? Y'all have never asked me, how can y'all help me with this? And he could make that face, but at the end of the day, Ricky, am I lying? Cat, bro, I just said this to him yesterday. Ricky, what you think we could do better that'll make your job? I say that to y'all with everything. Q, I know Q where he's not good with certain things. I say, Q, this ain't your space. So for me, if timing ain't my thing, extra parameters should be put in place. But I took the liberty myself, and I had my assistant call me today. And she called me down. This one was on me. My phone fell on the floor.
Still.
No, my phone was on the floor, and it's naturally on D&D until a certain hour. That's just naturally how my shit is.
Same.
It's not used to me getting up at a certain time. So the call just didn't come through. I woke up, looked at it like, all right, cool. I started making a decision from the rip. All right, I'm not going to pack this. I'm going to do anything not to start this process. I got to the airport at the time that I would want to anyway. When I tell you it was 400 people on the TSA line, I got clear. It was still a bunch of people. So I ain't gonna cap. Like literally, there's one lady. She heard me say my door closed in 5 minutes. If I would have probably been still behind her, I probably wouldn't have made it. I got to the gate at the time that they was like coming out to shut the drawbridge again, and it's like, hurry up. And, I made it. But it was literally like, and I'm going to tell you, you know how the airport stuff, how you like in the train and all that. Long story short, normally it's at, what is it, E gate? It was at T. T is TSA.
First one, yeah.
And it was gate 14, which is the first gate. So as soon as I came through security, came up the steps, the gate was right there. So it's like, if I had to get on a train, anything else, it was over. So when Ricky texted and said, are we good? I literally was just sitting in my seat.
So all in all, for the viewers and Ricky included, the fact that this nigga still did not learn anything and all
That's
this
not
shit.
true. That's not sense.
Let me land.
Go ahead.
And trying to pass the buck off where at the end of the day, like all our moms taught us, and that's a problem of our generation. We don't get into this. Problem of our generation, we try to lose all the recipes. The main recipe we was given is get to the airport 2 hours before. Now,
I never subscribed to that.
People like, you need to subscribe to it is the moral of the fucking story. Now, people like me, we was able to buck the system. I can lose that recipe and figure it out. I'm good. My track record clean in the streets, in the airport. People like you need to go back through the recipe book, find that one, and adopt it close to the heart for the rest of your life.
I feel like this
because
is
it's not working.
I feel like his wife talking.
Because she the same person as you. She like all the time. Like, so
he's either one of the two. He triggered right now.
You need to get there 2 hours early.
No, but
bare minimum.
No, I'm gonna say this, right? I feel like the morning flight thing, I realized like, all right, cool, I'm gonna try to avoid them. Like how you realize you want to avoid the night flight. Like I feel like that it's always a lesson in it for me.
Different reasons.
Don't matter. It's still how you arrived at avoiding them don't matter. Like that's the subjectivity of it. You want to avoid it for delays. I want to avoid it because I'm not getting there on time. We both not getting where we're supposed to be at the time we want to be there.
The fuck? This guy's good.
No, that's the fact.
This guy's good.
No, that's the fact though. But no, all in all though, what I will say is though, as far as in getting there early for sure. But I always learn. Like every single flight I've ever missed, I learned something. I'm not learning the same. Even though for you it's like, oh, you missed another flight. That's the end all be all. For me, it'd be different reasons. Sometimes I miss flights because I be negligent. I wasn't negligent these last 2 times, which is why I couldn't give a fuck. Because I knew that I did everything in my power to get there and be on a flight. You know what I'm saying? I can't control if I get in TSA and it's 500 people, besides getting there earlier. And I wasn't getting to the airport at 5 a.m. That just wasn't happening for me. That's not realistic. I'm not even going to lie to you or myself. I'm not getting to the airport by 5 a.m. I got there when I got there. And I stood on it. And it cost me.
1%ers, leave in the comments to see if you learned any lesson.
No, but you go back to the live episode when we talked about it, it was for different reasons. I wasn't respecting TSA. This wasn't that. Literally, it wasn't that. And then I got my daughter. So it's like other variables. Like I had to make sure my daughter was cool. I had to get her somewhere. Both times I had to go get people to babysit. So it's other variables. There was no way that I was going to I had to accept that I should have just took the 12 o'clock flight today.
Moving on though, speaking of being triggered by my wife, so recently I decided, I haven't done it. I probably do it today. It keeps slipping my mind. I'm going to pull the husband card and I'm going to use one of those words that they say you should never use, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to use forbid. And I'm going to forbid her to do some shit that I know not going to fucking work out.
What is it?
So she's trying to get a new promotion to work at night. And it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, cool. Like and she tried to have a good selling point. Hey, no, if I work at night, then I can start being home with Queen. So if we ever need someone to watch her, it'll all work out, whatever. So I could do the night shift. A few dollars more is less work. And I was like, at first I said no. Then she brought it back up. I said, all right, cool, it's your decision, whatever. Then I realized after that, I'm like, you know what? I got to put a card. You're my responsibility, my protection. I got to protect. As we said before, we got to save you from yourself. And I already know this is not going to work out. I know we spoke before about relationships when you got your partner, significant other, and they do something, and it's like, I already see this not going to work.
Right.
But then you want the flexible responsibility and like all the time.
You want to try it out, and even though I'm saying it ain't going to work.
But then it will fall back on me still
100%.
when it don't work out type shit, whatever. So
I've experienced it.
Exactly. So, what are your thoughts on people out there who go into situations where it's like, the partner wants to, you don't want to necessarily control somebody else. They're a grown-ass person. Yeah. But at the same time, you might need to be controlled of it.
No, yeah, for sure.
So any thoughts about that? How to navigate that for people, your own experience with people like that when they deal with those type of situations?
I feel like it's one of them situations where you're dealing with a situation where you foresee a potential obstacle that your partner can't see because they're fixed on what they stand to gain versus the other shoe that's going to drop that come with it.
And real quick, I'm sorry, I'm trying to interrupt. The part of it to land on it was like, I don't think we'll be in sync. I literally went through this exact. Right.
I went through this exact situation where I made a comment saying that this particular job will create a wedge between us. and it got perceived the wrong way. But what I was saying was, I can already see that at the time, if you are responsible for getting the kids from school and I'm responsible because I'm the one, working and making sure that everything is taken care of, I'm not trying to stop my day in the middle of my day so you can get off at 5 and then I got to go get them. That's when we first had this conversation. It was, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to go get the kids from school because it costs me more to stop working than it'll cost you for whatever they're going. I'd rather you find a shift that fits around that, or, you can work remote, whatever one you choose. But to work in that window, it puts, especially because one of the kids is in a whole nother state. The school, it's from Jersey, but still, it's still, I gotta go across a toll and a bridge. It's like, all right, cool. So you solve one problem, but then it's like we create another one. So in those particular situations, it's like that's where leadership comes into play. It's like you have to trust my judgment enough to know that I'm not trying. What I'm telling you and advising against is not to prevent you. It's to avoid an obstacle that will create a bigger obstacle for us down the line. So I wouldn't even say I forbid you to do it. It's just more so just like one of the situations where it's like you're thinking about what benefits you. You're not thinking about what's benefiting to us. And as a team leader, I have a right to overthrow that decision, not for me, but for us, because in 6 months, if it don't work out for you, I'm the one that still have to pick up the pieces. So I'm gonna just go ahead and deal with the attitude now, because there's a smaller attitude now, and then it'll be not only an attitude, but some built up resentment for the fact that I told you not to do it. You went against my judgment and then turned around and I still had to clean up the pieces. And that creates, I feel like, for like blemishes in the relationship that tend to add up. So, for me, dealing with that directly, I seen what it did in my relationship. And it's like, I agree with you in that sense, where it's like, if you already know this is going to be a wedge, it's going to create a wedge between us, don't do it. She shouldn't do it. Like, flat out.
We're going to see. I'll report back.
Yeah, let us know. Let's the updates.
Yeah, for sure. Also, recently I was thinking about, the difference between how as we age. As men, we go to different stages from, with teenagers to later on, whatever. What are your thoughts about those different stages as boys to men? And, and different chapters you go through, and just how that affects you.
I feel like
lessons learned in those.
I feel like now, and speaking in totality in the grand scheme of things, a lot of men are underdeveloped, unfortunately. And I feel like a lot of men don't understand. Like, men might think like, all right, and most times a lot of the attention gets put on the emotional capacity or incapacity in manhood. But I think it's deeper than that. I think like that men don't have to develop past a certain point beyond emotional maturity. I'm not trying to say that a man should go, you should be emotionally aware, emotionally intelligent, and you should arrive at emotional maturity. But as far as in being super in tune with your emotions, if you are able to get to depth in that capacity, but if you can operate and function and be a empathetic and sympathetic person without going to certain parameters or depths of experiencing your emotions, you don't have to be a fucking soul empath or whatever to be able to function through manhood. But a lot of men are underdeveloped by way of knowing how to handle responsibilities. And it's like, because the times in which responsibilities could have been put on a man, unfortunately, a lot of us was raised by single moms in environments that was catered and coddled to by other women that was probably single moms or aunties or grandmoms. And I always say men only learn from pressure and consequences. So that the underdevelopment come in at the point where it's like, if he never had no pressure put on him, he don't know how to deal with pressure. And at the end of the day, that's what makes a man a man. We strive to overcome challenges because we thrive under pressure, and we like to feel like we do, right? It makes us feel good. So with that being the case, when I think about men and their development, and I'm gonna go back to the original question, but I'm gonna land here real quick. When I think about it, it's like, if a man never really had to have the responsibilities through his adolescent years, how's he gonna learn how to handle responsibilities as an adult? And then he get thrusted into the role of manhood without no training and get expected to carry a load that he never even foresaw himself doing. And the thing is, being raised by single moms, and them not having that inability to really see they boys struggle, what they do, they try to make their life easier. They want to give him a soft life. And then giving a man a soft life, you create a man that don't want to face challenges, a man that don't know how to come up with solutions, a man that don't know how he's calling you when it's time to overcome an obstacle. And I think that's why we see, in more cases than not, a lot of men getting put in those challenging situations. And that's where mental health do become an issue, because it's like, unfortunately, you wasn't trained or prepared for this. So now you're dealing with a load of stress that you never even foresaw because it never was your reality. And now you in this position and predicament expected to carry the load for something that you never had to carry before. But another thing I say, man, we only got, I tell especially the single moms, man, like especially raising men in general, but I say to single moms that I was like, understanding like why you need to get your boys around good men. and good role models, because we only got 16 years to learn how to become a man before we're a man for the rest of our lives. Like once you're 17, you're thrust into manhood, you're expected to carry that load and you're expected to know what that look like. But if a man never was in a predicament to learn how to become, because boys don't become men by age, they become men by responsibilities. And you can determine the level of a man based on how he handles responsibility. A man could be 37 years old, but don't handle the responsibilities. He's not the same as a 25, 26-year-old who got all his stuff in line. But it's like, if a man was never taught that, he never had a role model, he never had that example set for him, then he's not going to know how to navigate manhood. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who you are in your teenage years is going to be different than who you are in your 20s. And who you are in your 20s is going to be different than who you are in your 30s. And you got to know what's needed in each of those seasons of your life. Like somebody going through their teenage years, they need to be preparing for manhood. Through your 20s is when you're going to explore, you're going to make a lot of your mistakes. This is where you got time to fuck up. This is where you got time to have a bullshit baby mom, or, you know, fucking, you want to catch a case, you want to go to college and drop out and get a job. No, because in your 20s is the time, but once you get to your 30s, that's game time for us. Like, you now have to be intentional about everything. You don't have time to go to school for 6 years to say you don't want to use this degree. You don't have time to sit down for 6 years. You don't have time to tether yourself to somebody for 18 years, because now you're going into your prime, right? People like to say your 20s is in your prime, but that's not true. That's only in fucking sports years. Only in sports years and rapper years is your 20s considered your prime. But if a motherfucker was a 30-year-old doctor, they'd say he was young. If a motherfucker was a 30-year-old lawyer, they'd say he's young. But if you're a 30-year-old rapper or athlete, they're going to say you're old. So a lot of our timeline is based on rapper years and motherfucking sports years, when in reality, at 29, you just kind of going into that vortex of even understanding yourself to even start what you want to do within manhood. So, you know, understand those different developmental stages and how to navigate them, you'll realize, like, all right, I'm at this particular point. Let me start thinking about where I want to be by this particular point, especially if you didn't have that early example.
Definitely interesting. And when I think about myself, as far as like teens versus 20 versus 30, of course, I often reflect on my 20s versus my 30s. I never thought about my teen years.
Yeah.
And when I think, of course, you know, that's mostly just school and shit like that. And I guess if I think about the stages, also recently to tie it all together, I think I told you in passing that one of the things I used to always think about was like, what is like the current chapter of your life?
Yeah.
And I think it's just like a kind of like a profound thought and question that most people should probably sit with. Is like, yeah, what is this current? What would you summarize what you're going through right now? What would you summarize what you went through and what you will be aiming for? And I think that kind of makes sure it's one of those like devices, I feel, or strategies, whatever, to try to make sure you're centered and whatever you want to be at and wherever you're going to is whatever. So recently I actually backtracked my life, not to my teenage years, but to right out of college, so like 22. And I wanted to see like what would I summarize each stage or whatever I was going through at the time in a chapter form, whatever. Yeah. And I was like calling it like my alchemy trail. Yeah. Just seeing like, you know, what things led to other things, trying to get like a picture of what the fuck was going on before and how I get to where I was at currently. Because currently I'm at peace with what I got going on, whatever. Yeah. So how many things were intentional and how many things were kind of just like happenstance, whatever. And I feel like, you know, to your point, my late 20s to the 30s for sure was definitely like, I've said before, like it was lock-in time. I had to make a super drastic shift because I was like, 20s, I didn't realize in real time that I was like going through the motions, figuring out shit, whatever, trying it. And then it hit me during that pandemic like a brick wall, like, oh shit, no, nigga, like if something don't happen, we gonna be sitting here looking at 40, like, and that was never in my cards, I felt like, whatever. So a change was needed. Now, you know, I like where I'm at, whatever. But if I think about my teens though, I feel like I was probably like more cocky. I think in my teenage years, I was definitely just like,
because the status symbols was different. But even this is another thing I want to say to the men that's watching, man. Even the boys that's watching, you got to understand, man. Women get an unlimited amount of grace throughout life. As men, the older you get, the less grace you get. At 16, you can be it's cocky and it's cute, right? No, at 12, it's cute. 16, you could be cocky. 20, 22, you approaching them stages where they starting to look at you like a young adult. By the time you 30, you're a grown ass man. And it's like by then, like think about it. Like by then, like you gotta think a lot. Going back to being underdeveloped, if a boy was able to lean on his auntie, his grandmom, his mom for the things that he needed to get done, right? He's 16, 17, 18, they still want to make. He's still in college years. All right, we still don't want you doing too much. We still looking out for you. Right after that, he get thrusted into manhood. He don't have the tools and the skill sets to be able to create on his own because he was always used to asking. Think about what that man becomes psychologically 4 or 5 years later when he's now 25 and now his 11-year-old little cousin is 16 and now they getting all that love and attention and the pouring into from auntie, grandma, and maybe even mom. Whereas now your resources and how you used to figure things out, you can't lean on no more, because again, as you get older, the grades go down. It's not, you're now a grown man, so you're expected to be able to figure it out, but without that proper training or example or what that looks like, which is why you got to understand as you grow, as you develop, as you get older as a man, that the older you get, the less grace you have, the less people look at you and be like, you shouldn't know better, because it's like, no, you should know better. And that's why you got to be super duper intentional about that during those years. Like, when I was a teen, the things that I was able to do, I was always, all right, cool, it's ahead of its time, whatever the case may be, but time will catch up with you. And what I mean by time catching up with you is like, at one point, you know, when you 16, you got a car, you him. By the time you're 20, it's normal. At 20, if you know you got to 22, you got a degree, you that. 8 years later, you did nothing with it. At 30, it don't even matter. Like, what are we talking about? So it's like, as you age and get older, you got to transition within those transitions to be able to know, like, the more I get older, the more I grow in age, the less grace I'm gonna get, the more I have to know how to figure it out within myself. So, you know, those are different phases. They require different versions of you, and you gotta know what that look like. But the issue with our generation is a lot of our generation is still living like it's high school. Like, we are in our 30s, right? And they are still living. I'm okay with being youthful. I'm okay with being fun and, you know, keeping up with whatever is trending as far as in to keep it fun, essentially. But when you really think about it, it's like people literally don't want the responsibilities that come with adulthood. Like, that transition never transpired. It's like everybody stopped at high school and just still living off the things that they did in high school, still carrying themselves the way they carried themselves in high school, still communicating the way they functioned in high school, still living in their operating relationships the way that worked in high school, and not realizing that adulthood require a whole different operation. And not too many people are subscribing to see what that look like, because it's not no accountability. Go ahead, no.
I saw a stat that said since 1997, family reunions dropped by like 47% or something.
It's probably going to increase to 67 by 2027
for sure. And I was like, and, you know, I think I either saw you posted or somebody where it's like, yo, niggas always talking about like, where the cookout at? It's like, we supposed to be doing the cookout.
Yeah.
And something as simple or as, you know, not as serious as that is a indication of like, we're not accepting that we are supposed to be doing this shit.
Yo, Thanksgiving, like, people be like, grandma, you cook your grandma.
She tired.
Grandma, I'm 80 something now. Like, what do you mean is you cooking? Like, the aunties that was in their 30s and the uncle that was in their 30s, we are. Yeah, this is the wave and the phase that we at. But, you know, for the most part, we still showing up to the cookout trying to with a to-go plate, as opposed to, you know. Now, granted, I feel like in my circles that I operate, we do our best to host these things. But I'm talking about a grand scheme of things in totality with the society. I just feel like it's not as common as it used to be.
I will say another side of that conversation was that I was talking to somebody about this recently, and I was like, you know, of course, the American dream, we was growing up, it was like, yo, get that house and this and that, whatever. And now we know, of course, if you want to get something, go get it, whatever. Yeah. But the parameters of the economy and the variables that are going on is just totally different than it was 25 100%. Years ago, whatever. So to the feasibility or attainability to get a house now just is different than it was before. So I think about when my daughter is of age, I can imagine saying like, get a house, you rich? Like, yo, we all live in apartments now, whatever. My mom always said when she lived in California, everybody lived in an apartment. Nobody had a house because it was like unheard of at the time, whatever. So everything goes in cycles, whatever. So to my point is like, when I think about, is it a part of our generation being in these kind of like trapped youth, or what they call arrested development, is that we also don't have the same societal type of tools that our parents kind of inherited. When I think about like almost all our parents probably had cribs like in their early 20s, and now it's not as likely due to societal shit going on, like just the housing market per se, whatever.
Yeah, I could see that, but I honestly think that it's the mindset that has shifted. People have become for self. I think that it was a more community feel back then, because you can politic at the park. True. So it's like you ain't gotta have a cookout at your crib to have a cookout. I think that we, even as teenagers, used to create spaces to hang with our friends if we couldn't have company. You'll meet us at the park. You'll meet us here. So I feel like that element got lost on it, because a lot of people are literally for self now. Like, it's like people don't even consider people no more. And that's where I feel like society is like internally dooming itself, right? Because people will complain about the lack thereof of empathy and sympathy and consideration that the world don't have, and then don't take into account the lack of empathy and sympathy and consideration that they don't give. And it's like, how much grace do you give? How much patience do you have? How much are you tolerant and allowing room for people to grow? How much are you giving empathy and sympathy for when deserving of it? How much are you, know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you think of it as an individual effort, it's like if you're not even as an individual partaking and making it better, then it's never going to improve because you are complaining about something that you have no intentions on improving. So with society kind of operating within that realm of, if you don't give a fuck about me, I don't give a fuck about you. It's like nobody wants to give a fuck first, right? It's like I ain't giving a fuck first because if I give a fuck first, it's like they think it's a loss or something. And it's like all it takes for somebody to do is show a little bit of consideration or show a little bit of more care, and then don't do it expecting an immediate return, because that's where the issue comes in. People think the moment they care, you got to care back. You got to care.
All this shit,
It's like you got to care and then not care if somebody care back. You shouldn't just not care. So it's like if you give a homeless man $20 on the street, you don't care if he pay you back
or say thank you.
I mean, thank you and caring is two different things, though. It's like a motherfucker can say things. That's not even in this particular realm. You don't care if he give it back to you. You don't look for it to be reciprocated because you feel like I'll get my blessings from God. But when you take the money out of it, you take the metaphor out of it, you just talk about just caring for other humans and saying I'll get my reciprocity from God. People seem like no, it got to come back from you. It's like I want you. If you don't care, I don't care. And it's like you meeting them where they at instead of coming over here and then pulling them where you at, whatever the case may be. And I think that if we could be more considerate, that would change the dynamic, because it goes from, oh, I ain't holding no cookout because last time I went to your cookout, you didn't come to my cookout, or I'm not letting you come to my crib because when I tried to come to your crib, or you not, it's like everybody is moving petty. And it's like, that is literally is offsetting the community aspect of being able to build and sustain these traditions, because the new tradition is, they call it standing on business. But it's like, you ain't, standing on business and pride don't exist in the same conversation. People have misconstrued what it means to stand on business. Standing on business means you're standing on honor, integrity, and your morals. You're like, listen, I believe in this, I'm standing on that. You know, I live by this, I'm standing on that. I did that, you know what? I gotta take what come with it, I'm standing on that. It's not the fact that, oh, I'm gonna fuck you over and then I'm gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, or I'm about to be being petty and I'm gonna stand on it. It's like, no, that's pride. That's not the same. Pride and principle do not exist in the same conversation. Y'all gotta separate the two in order for us to be able to function as fucking humans and adults at that.
I like that, actually. To your point about just not caring if somebody cares back, what I often do, because, you know, I respect them. I respect anybody who's just like maybe a little more consistent at being charitable than I am. Like sometimes it just kind of comes to me. I mean, oh, fuck it, why not? Whatever. But oftentimes I really don't even be one at the back. So, you know, one of my favorite things to do is like, young boys at the gas station. Sir, I don't want you to pump my. I mean, young boy, I don't want you to pump my gas. Just take the bread. Yeah. Then it's like, or, you know, the other
just
day,
don't take the car.
Absolutely, thank you, YN. Or like a little girl selling some chocolate. It was funny shit. Actually, we was in California, so. I dropped my wife off to go into a restaurant. I went to go park, whatever. When I came back, I was walking past a little cute girl. She's like, "Hey, excuse me, the little pretty lady said her husband will be back over here soon. Said she'll buy some chocolate from us." I'm like, "She said I'll buy some chocolate." I'm like, all right, cool. How much?" She's like, "Yeah, $25." $25. Like, what the fuck she said? I'm like, you know what, little girl? All right, just take. I'm like,
she went from pretty girl to little girl real quick. She know what little girl.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool. Take the money with her. All right, here. I'm like, little girl, I want this fucking chocolate. Like,
yeah, give it to somebody else.
Yeah, like, no, please take. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. But like, yo, I just kind of want you to have. I don't fucking need your chocolate or need you to pump my gas or need your water at the fucking corner. You know,
why can't? That's the thing. Like, that's what it means to give.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, if the world can adopt that, I'm giving, not even because of what you're gonna give me in return, but simply because I have the capacity to give it to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna say something else.
I'm gonna double back probably to even explain it more, because I feel like, yeah, man, that's one of the things where you good. Okay,
cool.
I'm just saying.
I was thinking about the idea, you know, I'm a feminist. So sometimes. the idea of like
Monday through Thursday,
yeah,
Friday, Sunday, that boy different.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life, the infamous saying. And I was like, you know what, man, men just need to shut up more. Meaning, because, you know, kind of piggyback on a few conversations we had, you know, regarding this topic, the idea of like not meeting a woman where she's at emotionally or when she's charged up and this and that. When she's, you know, it's like end of the day, I thought to myself, like, oftentimes I realized I just need to shut up in real time and just process and assess and then evaluate and then later apply. And it's like, I feel sometimes you get caught up in, like I said, the whole forbid thing. I get caught up in like in real time, like, fuck, it's a dumbass idea. It's clearly not gonna work out. Like, why would you, you know, but instead, you know what? Okay, let me just kind of process this. I'll get back to you. And I think those type of, let them talk in real time. Let them get their shit off, whether they're angry or not. But let them, they can talk into the ground. Like, that's what you do. But me, I'm a process, and I'm gonna get back. You know, I'm gonna get back to you. I got you.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Because even when you shut up, they're gonna antagonize you more. Unfortunately, right? But I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. But I'm just saying, like, I was thinking about it and processing as you were saying it, because I'm that guy. Like, I'm not going back and forth. Like, I'll process, I'll sit and I'll think. But I felt like sometimes, you know, because I felt like they can't live in silence. So, you know, we value peace. So what you're coming up with really could help a man for his own sanity, right? Like, bro, you know what? Just don't even go back and forth with her. Just like let it process. But for them, they got to fill that space with conversation. They got to fill that space with it's something wrong. They got to fill that space with whatever it is that they can fill it with to make themselves still feel connected to you. And it'll be toxic if you get silent in the middle of a debate, in the middle of an argument, and you shut down. You're not really kind of like authorized to do that. Now in reverse, yeah, they could shut down all day and tomorrow, and you kind of got to just fade that. Oh, like,
they are authorized.
Yeah, like they're mad. But you know, as men, I feel like steering the conversation and landing it will probably do us a little bit more justice. Like not trying to get our point across, but more so trying to land it so that it can be a space can be created in a healthy manner, so they don't think we shutting down as a tactic or a trick or some type of, you know what I mean, game, mind game. Because in reverse, they only can receive it. They only can perceive it the way that they would do it, so they receive it the way they would do it. So they're like, oh, he's shutting down. He must be trying to play a mind game. When in reality, it's like, you know what? I'm just checked out of this conversation. I'm gonna just come back to it. I'm trying to stop myself from snapping out. I'm gonna just revisit it. But unfortunately, you know what I mean? You got to find a way to land that a little bit better. But what I was going to say, what was the example you said prior to? You said something. I was trying to hold my thought before I.
Like just now?
Yeah, it was in that same.
The happy wife, happy life.
But it was that.
Just men need to shut up.
Yeah, it was in that men need to shut. It was in that whole little part. It'll come back to me. But it was before I was going to even talk about men not being able to, for them perceiving it wrong. I was going to say something about that whole concept, but it'll come back.
Okay. The idea to kind of shift gears for a little bit about, like, you know, I know you went through this when, you know, you made transition from cities and you had to think about, all right, like, how am I still?
That's what I was going to say. Right, you know how this go. So I was going to say that going back to the whole forbid thing.
Okay.
So it comes a time, right, where as leaders, when we can foresee issues, instead of shutting their idea down, we have to learn how to put parameters in place that beat them to the issue. So if you can already foresee it being an issue, instead of saying, that's not going to work, don't do that because I know it's not going to work, I'm going to put insurance policies on the back end of this situation to protect us in the long run. So you can still, A, do it your way, and then B, when it's time for me to clean up, I already was on that shit. So I think that being leaders, that's how we effectively allow for our partners to navigate their ship of being able to freely think ahead without shutting them down, but still beating them to the point of solving a problem. Because I already know that this shit not going to work. So instead of me sitting here trying to tell you don't do it, and then we arguing about me not letting you do what you want to do, when you want to do it, and how you want to do it, and you're a grown woman, you can take care of yourself. My
daddy don't tell me what I do.
I'm just going to say, okay, babe, go ahead, give it a try. And while you're giving it a try, I'm putting the insurance policy, contingency plan. I'm putting a contingency plan in place that protects us. If we never reach the contingency plan, we cool. But in the event that we do, even when you come to me feeling like, oh, yeah, y'all should have listened, it's cool, don't even worry about it, I can give you grace because I already was ahead of the game. So that's one of the tips that I would even tell the men that's out there, like when you get in predicaments where you can clearly see that your wife or your girlfriend or your lady is about to make a decision that's like not going to benefit you in the long run. If it's something that don't have to be shut down, don't shut it down. Like what this particular case is, taking a shift that's going to create a wedge. All right, you know what? I'm not going to shut. I know you're not going to sustain that. So what I'm going to do is prepare myself for the unsustainability of it. Because how do you think she's going to do now? Do you run the risk of her falling in love with it? Then that's when the conversation got to be had. Look, damn, I know you really love this shift, but I really do feel like it's creating a wedge between us. And I think we should revisit it because these are the things that is happening behind that. And then that's a different conversation than you flat out saying, no, just don't do it. Because especially for you, Mr. Consultation to get neutered, you know what I mean, without communicating to your wife. So
yeah, you missed that topic, Rick.
Yeah. Your man made a fucking consultation to get neutered without talking to his wife.
Forgot to bring that up.
What if she forbid you?
I talked to her about that.
Yeah, what if she forbid you from getting neutered?
My body, my choice.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying, Mr. My Body, My Choice. So, you know, and that, you know what's funny? The audience don't even know because that episode never hit.
Trigger!
So one thing, just for transparency for y'all that if y'all, you know, y'all watching right now, listening right now, I know public people is reaching out like, when is episode 53 coming? When is 53 coming? And y'all don't understand how many episodes we shot that just didn't make it. Like, this is like take 5. Not even joking though. So yeah, there's so many conversations that we had. Even him trying to revisit certain of these topics, they not even the same topics at this point because at the end of the day, these flies is out here. At the end of the day, it's flies all around the set today. Yeah, shout out to the flies that's everywhere. They even on the TV behind you. But yeah, all in all though, yeah, so there's a lot of conversation that y'all didn't even get to see that was golden. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. That's one of the things where we just give grace and we keep it pushing. You know what I mean? But to your next topic though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause I know you went through this a similar transition of thought and experience when you transition cities and you think, all right, like, how do I still keep the chemistry going, what I got going there, whether it's family, personal, business, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to merge these worlds, whatever. So recently I was watching a show and it was about well, it's not what it's about. Essentially what happened in this situation was a young boy, he's like in high school, 13, 14, whatever, something like that, whatever. His parents went through a recent divorce. He's dealing with it rough, whatever. He don't really fuck with the new stepdad. Cool. Stepdad's in the crib, and he's been vocal to his mom and dad, because dad's still around that, yeah, I'm kind of, stressed out about y'all not being together. The new nigga's fucking ass. I don't fucking with. Not nothing crazy, but we just don't vibe at all type shit. So then to make matters worse, according to the kid, the dad ended up getting a fucking job across the country. And he was like a professor. He's like, yo, but like, son, like this is like a 10-year position. It's like at this fucking institution, when you go to college, you can go there for free. Your whole life be changed and it's kind of worth it. He's like, but dad, like literally, what about now? Like this is like the worst time and I ain't able to go across the fucking country. And his dad basically like, deuces. No, but he was really but in the day, like, this is like what I've been waiting for though. And I thought it was interesting because at the end of the day, your child is your child. And they're vocalizing that, I'm going through a rough time and I would love to have both my parents in close proximity while I'm dealing with this of y'all breakup type shit. And dad, but also at the same time, I got my own life. I got my own passions and pursuits though. And I gotta chase that shit too, or whatever. And I'm a hope for the best. I'm still one phone call away. Your mom's still here. I hope for the best, whatever. So I was curious if I know you went through something similar where you like, no, I need to make a move for myself, and I'm gonna still do what's best for my family, but I can also do what's best for me. So what are your thoughts about that, whether for man or woman, but just parents when they're balancing their own personal pursuits and also make sure their children,
I feel like
are in mind.
Children they're selfish, but they have a right to be. No, this is what it is. Kids are selfish. We all was.
Absolutely.
We all. Then
Especially daughters.
What sucks is when children grow into adults with the same mindset, right? Without growing to see the world. Because I believe psychologically, once a child is like 7 or 8, they then know how to interpret the world from other people's perspectives. But prior to, they really don't understand that the world don't revolve around them. It's personal. It's like, you didn't make my 5th birthday party. It's like, I don't understand why grandma wasn't there. Like, I don't care if she had to work. Like, nothing makes sense. But I think at like 7 or 8, and somebody can fact check this, but I believe at like 7 or 8, that's when their mind starts to fully form in a development of being able to understand that other people have other perspectives. And, again, just because it happens don't mean people immediately step into that thought and that mind frame. But regardless, children are selfish-minded. So, again, he's thinking about the season of his life that he's in. He's not thinking about the season of the life that his dad is in. And unfortunately, that his dad's season came while his season was here, and his dad's season, you know what I'm saying? So if the dad can still find ways to be as present as possible, I mean, that's just going to build the kid character. It's not like he left him in fucking foster care. That's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to be like, all right, you left him in foster care, you out of pocket. But you left him with your mom, with a new husband, and you just kind of not feeling the situation. I mean, how much, because if it was in reverse, how much would the mom have to then not move on because you don't want her to get a man because you still mad at dad? So it's like, she moved on to her right, he moved on to his right. Their move on just look different. So you looking at it because he moved on to another space to take a job, and she moved on with another person, or whatever case may be. You might not be feeling the person, but you're dealing with it. You kind of got to find a way to deal with that too. And I think honestly, that's where character is built, and that's why when we're parenting, we can't try to solve all of our kids' problems. We have to instill into them critical thinking abilities by putting them in situations that aren't dangerous or that are negligent, but allowing them to figure themselves out, their way out of situations, so they can figure themselves out, so they can build up their confidence when it comes to dealing with certain type of things, so that they're not 27 and they literally need therapy, not for anything other than the fact that their mom's and dad divorced. You follow what I'm saying? Is like, I'm not saying that that's not a significant reason to need it. I'm saying that shouldn't be the only reason, based on the fact that we didn't properly prepare you to be able to deal with these type of transitions. So as parents, It's not to say that they still don't end up there, but at least we could be a little bit more intentional about allowing them to solve their own minor problems so that they won't lean on us when it comes time for them to solve major problems, whatever the case may be. Build up a track record and then being able to say, you know what? I've been in this predicament before. Not the same, but similar, and I know how I deal with it. So this is how we can build that character. So yeah, this just won't build this character. And I know it's a hypothetical situation, but that's just what it goes down to in general. It's like, bro, we come from a situation where we got to learn on the fly how to deal with real deal situations. Like real deal. Like a divorce is the least of our concerns growing up.
I used to always see those shows like,
I think I'll
be all right.
Yeah, like really, like you know what I'm saying? Like so, it's like, and that's not to minimize or downplay it. It's just the interpretation when internalize it from our perspective, because we don't know what it's like to have to go through it. Because unfortunately, many of us didn't grow into wedded parents or whatever. What is it? Yeah, in wedlock. Because I guess out of wedlock. So in wedlock, we wasn't born in wedlock. But yeah, so let's push past hypotheticals and let's talk. What's going on, man? Let's converse. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say one thing real quick?
For sure.
So to your point about the critical thinking, I was talking to my man's about his nephew recently. He was saying like he was helping him do some shit as a young man at this point, whatever. And he was talking about just like one of the elements he feels kind of spoiling kids is something simple as Uber, where before 100%. We had to learn through SEPTA and like transfers and trial lead a bus and this and that. Like, and I'm like, I never thought about that. We're like, like. Me personally, I still gotta go on the train sometimes for work shit, and I know the SEPTA like the back of my hand, like certain areas. And he was saying his nephew really didn't know how to ride like SEPTA, and I was like, that's interesting because like he either just getting driven by his parents or they send him in an Uber, and he got to lead when he's left his own devices just to navigate the city when we've one of the most fucking public transit cities ever, and he just like, oh shit, what?
How old is the nephew?
14.
So I do think at a certain age. I think the world is different than when we was younger because we was kids. I was 8 and 9 catching SEPTA by myself. It was straight routes, like maybe the sub to here to there. But my mom literally used to teach us how to travel.
Right.
But I think that it just looked different. Like we so technology driven, it's so convenience driven. The resources look different. It might actually make more sense to put somebody in an Uber. But I think that teaching them how to I don't know, just like certain things. That's like somebody like we don't know how to, I don't know, fucking build fences or something. Like it's like certain things just become obsolete.
But I was gonna say, but I think sometimes critical thinking like that is about your sense of direction.
That's the truth.
And I think as a man, I think that's a way a lot of men develop their sense of direction just by traveling, not by yourself per se, but at least by
getting lost and finding yourself.
Yeah, shit like that. But if you just in the Uber going from A to B, and you're not driving, it's like, do you know what the fuck you going for real?
Yeah,
like, so
I think the world has become a big soft life. Yeah. So everything is convenience sells, and that's what the world operates and thrives off of. How can I take a task off your plate that you don't feel like doing? Yeah, sure. So I feel like before they even needed, that's where GPS was created. It's like you should be smart enough to use GPS. You should be conscious and smart enough to be able to navigate the Uber or Lyft app. You should know when and how and why not, or what to do, when to use Uber, when to drive. Like I think the critical thinking looks different now because the resources is different. Fair. It's like when they was using the bow and arrow versus when they started getting firearms and motherfucking cannons, and it's like the way you using the tools is different, so the way you think is different. You know what I mean? When they was fighting with swords in the fucking medieval times, how they had to go about situations was different than now. The way we got technology in a way that they can, just knock the earth off his atlas with certain type of fucking weapons. So no, seriously, like I've heard that. Like so, it's like I think that we are still navigating our ways because they still work. But we're not born in a time of not having to do it our way to know if their way is just as efficient to them. We just looking at our efficiency because I remember before it was buses, they had to walk. And it's like, yeah, we had to walk 10 miles to school. Y'all don't know what it was. I don't want to know what it was like.
Absolutely not.
Give a fuck. And I think that's how the kids feel. Like, why do I got to catch the bus? Because you had to catch the bus.
Yes.
Like, I was born into Uber time, so this is what we doing. Like, if you're going to spend $80 a month or monthly, you can put together an $80 Uber budget.
Difference is, when your phone die, because all your niggas' phone die, you're stranded. It's over.
Yeah, but I think then that's when they know how to get to a charger, though. I still don't think they go to the bus.
Get to a charger.
Like, yo, bro, you got a charger? Like, I just think it look different. But this thing can stand in the realm of critical thinking. I think that that's a skill that everybody needs.
Absolutely.
Right? Especially men. Like, as a man, if you don't have many other skills, you got to be able to think critically beyond how you feel. You have to be able to have foresight. You have to be able to look down the road and try to foresee the outcome you want to create. Then reverse engineer, which just means go back from Z to A, and then manufacture your way to get to Z as in the best way that you possibly can.
Talking about engineer, I was thinking
that's why I say reverse engineer. Let me simplify it. You know what I mean? Just look at the end goal and then figure out how to get back from the beginning back to the end, essentially.
But you say you want to talk. So
No, I'm just saying, like, just like, even whatever the topic says, I said just non-hypothetical, like, just what's going on, what's new, how's marriage? Like, you've been married for 2 months. Or has it been 2 months or 3 months? Going on 3 months?
Going on 3 months.
Yeah, so 90 days, first 90 days of marriage. How has that been?
I can't lie, it's been great. I feel like, I said a few episodes ago, like we already was going into a strong momentum going into it when we had that conversation about me just being better as, a leader in general and, just approaching situations and conflict and just all our situations a little differently, whatever. So I feel like that put us on the right. And, we cleaned the slate. We like, any past shit that you won't want to bring up and I want to bring up, we both say, that shit don't matter. I was even thinking about something the other day that, you know what? I'm not even going to use that as the situation about the whole forbidden shit. That was part of the reason why I initially said, you know what? It's cool. Fuck, let's see what happens. Because I didn't want to apply the past situation to this. Cause I really wish we both was approaching this as like, like the past is the past, clean slate into shit, whatever. Let's build from here, whatever. So that's part of the reason I was like, don't want to use that. I still might gotta use that. But I'll further develop. But other than that, we in a good place. Queen's still crazy. And I don't think we ever spoke about my California trip.
I don't think we have. Another thing, we didn't speak about a lot of things because a lot of episodes we didn't get.
Yeah, so my birthday trip went great.
No, we did talk about that first time.
All right,
cool.
All right, cool.
About it,
So other
that episode just never.
So we didn't talk about that.
Technically, yeah. But it went good though. You went back to your birthplace.
Went back to the birthplace, recenter myself. Lena got to see certain shit, whatever. It was cool. And I realized I don't need to do that ever again. My mom. It all worked out.
Yeah.
But as far as like, taking my mom and Queen on a birthday trip,
it's like
no, it was good to do it the one time, but that's okay.
I seen that y'all was doing a lot of dad shit, like dad daughter shit.
It was a mixture. Like I
didn't know it dealt fun.
That's we ain't take pictures. Yeah, me and Mama, we was outside.
All right, cool.
But it was a good.
He said that was some of my close friends.
Yeah, we kicked out that one.
I see.
But no, it was a good trip, and I still, was happy that I did it though. Yeah. That I took my mom, and I feel like I said it wasn't about my mom, it wasn't about Queen, it was about us. Yeah. I think that's like one of I'm not sure if that's the very next season or chapter, but I know that's something I look forward to grow into. Just being, I probably said before, like, I feel oftentimes I'm always like, how can I be a better person? Like, how can I be better what I'm doing? But I'm also trying to be like better husband, better son, better dad. I feel that trip was like a effort to check off all the 100% versus just, it's my birthday, I just want to be me.
Yeah,
I just want to relax and be like, no, that's it's okay. Yeah, I'm at that age now. And I did ask Lena about.
You preferenced the question. You said you asked her what would she want from you, but I know you already. I told Wolf you would want the crib and this and that. Once you do that, you take the steam out of it. Now she gonna think from that perspective instead of just letting her answer. But for me, I feel like over these last couple of weeks, I was trying to get everything in order. I feel like it was a lot of like realization. Like I've been like realizing, like even within myself, it's them little minor decisions that you make or don't make on a day-to-day that can literally create, good or indifferent habits that can lead to good or indifferent outcomes. And just looking at like, even like I always talk about practicing grace, right? And I feel like people it's always easier said than practiced, right? But just think about what we've had to endure as far as in filming over the course of this last month alone, and the other people who dropped the ball in multiple different situations that we had to extend grace while still moving through the situation to be able to deliver. And the reason I highlight that is because this is just me saying in real time, not in theory, that like y'all fuck up a lot of good relationships based on one-off situations that, if given grace, could be rectified. And not a lot of people understand that because they're too caught on whatever the situation was. And it's like true growth comes behind grace, and true grace is given to growth. So it's like I grow as a person when I can extend you grace behind doing something that I temporarily might have cut somebody off for, if I understood that your intent wasn't on no BS. And even if it was, I can still give you grace while cutting you off. And then I'm able to give grace in return when a person is growing. Like, all right, I'm gonna see to it that I'm considerate and I don't allow that to happen again. And I feel like just going all the way back to the whole considerate topic and just understanding, like, we just never know what other people dealing with and what they got going on. So, grace is always necessary. But as for me in this particular season, I'm just I'm at a point now where I'm reevaluated what mattered to me. I feel like, as we become more successful, it's easy to derail. And I feel like we always hear, and I'm be fortunate enough that I'm able to foresee and look down. I could do something small and think about it in the most magnified, maximized way to stop myself from going to that trajectory. Like, what I'm saying? Where there's some people, they get halfway down the road and then realize like, oh shit, I'm tripping. So I feel like, them small things like I've been giving a lot of I'm dating, so I've been giving a lot of my attention to the dating world, and I can see how it's interfering with my productivity. Even though I'm still being slightly productive, it's compromised productive. It's like I'm slightly productive because it's like normally I'm literally up at 4 a.m. Now I'm getting up at 5:15, 5:20. So it's like those might normally go to bed at 9 p.m., but now I'm on the phone, so I'm going to bed at 10 p.m. That hour taking away from an hour from my sleep, that's taking away from an hour from my day. And I'm seeing the conclusions of that essentially and how it's turning into everything that we got going on and just my need and my desire, my want to be able to show up and do certain things. So for me, just kind of reevaluating, shaving off certain things. I might even go on a fast. I'm thinking about it. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm definitely considering, because, when we get to a certain point, you got to rev it up a notch. Like I'm happy to have become a 5 a.m. type of guy. 4 a.m. I'm happy to become that. But now revving it up is like, all right, don't just get comfortable with getting up at this time. How much am I still getting done at this time? And don't get comfortable making this amount. How can we double this amount? Don't get comfortable with having these particular things going on. How can we enhance and improve those things or whatever? And for me, I went through those seasons of wanting to become a better son, wanting to become a better dad, wanting to become a better man when I was in a relationship, man for myself and man for my partner. But it wasn't like, it's not like I'm not on that. I just don't have to do that as much considering the way my life's set up. But I don't also want to take that freedom and just do bullshit, because I feel like that's where I feel like a lot of men don't understand too. A lot of men got too much freedom and don't know what to do with it, and they're not making no progress towards being productive in ways that they say they want to be in the future, right? So it's like I always say, like a man, when you single, you're supposed to take that single time to build you. I always say, as of now, build your faith, your fitness, and your finances. You want to develop a relationship with God, not just religion. You want to make sure that your fitness is in order, because women like looking at stuff, and health as well, and just being in the gym, just build your confidence, just make you look and feel better as a man.
Mental health.
And then your finances, building your finances ain't just about making more money. It's about eliminating debt. It's about building better habits. It's about learning how to pay bills on time. It's about doing all of the things that you're going to need to already be able to take on and manage while being in a relationship, so that when you get in your relationship, you don't got to have to ask your partner to wait for you to figure it the fuck out. And I feel like a lot of men are taking a time while they're single to fuck around, and then when they get in a relationship, they want to get serious. It's like you had all summer to prepare for school, and now it was the first day and you don't got a pen. You don't got your supplies because you played around thinking that, all right, cool, it's summer, right? Yeah, it's summer. You outside, you can do what you want, whatever the case may be. But if you know that school was coming, you should be preparing yourself for that.
And you want to go to school.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's something you want to do, right? So if you say you want to be in a relationship, you want to be married, that don't mean you got to deal with one woman. That don't mean you can't date and, have your fun. It just means that it has to be intentional. Like, what is these things? Like, if you're just out spending, you're not collecting no data on the women you dating, you're not doing nothing, you're not putting yourself in no predicament, so that if you do decide to take one of them serious, you can actually build with them. Now you risk at day one being with them, they're expecting you to already have these things figured out, and you like, no, babe, I need time to figure it out. Bro, you just had time to figure it out when you were single. So don't take your single season to just fuck around. Take your single season to get you right before you got the responsibilities of taking on other people's responsibilities.
Yeah, and to your point about the little things that add up over time, before you got here, me and Ricky was talking about different relationship, whatever. And I was like, yeah, like, me and my wife been together now, in totality for, over 10 years. And sometimes I think about just like, what could have broke us up in that time, whatever. And I feel like people typically focus on like the cliche big things, cheating and like abuse and shit like that, whatever. But more times than not, as Ricky said it, and I agree with him, is that it usually people break up with the nuance. It'd be nuanced situations and boiling points and breaking more shot. It don't just be, oh, they cheated. And like he was saying, the nuance disconnects lead to those, maybe those 100%. Big things, whatever. Yeah. So it's like to your point about people don't get past those situations, you throw away a whole relationship over something that could have just been unpacked and figured out, whatever, given grace, then you can move past it possibly. I think about that where like, it's been several things where it's like, if I look back, I'm like, yeah, that probably could have been an end. And I probably also know someone that did end for that reason, whatever. But now zoomed out is, it's 10 years, whatever, and all. But how many people also, friendships, relationships, commitments to passions or journeys or whatever it be, that could have still persisted with just that tweaking along the way and giving grace and figuring out and pushing through whatever.
And people tend to look back and realize that, right? You know what I mean? They always look back, and that's why a lot of people will look back and feel like they fumbled the situation because they didn't foresee what grace could have did for them. They only looked at in the moment what it did to them, right? And I think that's where it's like somebody be like, oh yeah, I fumbled or whatever the case may be. But if you know that you gave it your all, you left it all on the table, you didn't leave no stone unturned, you have no reason to feel like that. So, and this goes transparent across the board, whether in, you know, people giving up on career opportunities, people giving up on businesses, or people giving up on relationships simply because of what was happening, how they felt in the moment versus taking a step back, zooming out and realizing what the bigger picture could look like if repaired and if restored or whatever the case may be. So, and it was something else you just said. You were saying, dang, what'd you say prior to that?
The nuance and 10 years, the cliche 2 big breakups, and we could have broke up. Other people could have broken up.
Yeah,
they lead to the big blow ups.
Yeah, it'll come back, and if not, we'll just unpack because I think it'll go into a whole nother conversation. What I was finna even say in that regard, or whatever the case may be. But ultimately, I think that even that's why getting 1% better it just matter. You know what I mean? That's why these conversations matter because I feel like it's always something that if you out there, you haven't arrived at these moments, right? Take these conversations and take them where they could be applied. You know what I mean? Forgive yourself for what you didn't know at the time that you wish you would have knew it, and apply that shit moving forward. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Like, I don't really dwell on the things that I didn't know. Not having information privy to me. I always look at it like I'm gonna use the most information I have available to the best of my ability. And whatever I figure out after this, I wasn't gonna know before this anyway. So I can only use it moving forward. And that's what I want people to take from any experience that we give them, or any experience that y'all got and that y'all experienced on your own. Like, make sure you learn something from it. Like, I was serious even at the beginning when I said, I really do be learning from shit. Like, learning from something, that's where grace, that's even where grace is important, because that's where people fuck up too. People think that if you don't learn the way they want you to learn, that you didn't learn. And that's not true. Like, everybody learn differently. We can literally have a class with 30 students and teach the same lesson and make everybody get a review on it. And it might be 30 different perspectives. And that's life. The ultimate goal for it to be is if you feel like you learned something and you won't make the same mistake, because everybody's learning curve and learning pattern is different, and how we interpret and process information is different. What's a lesson to everybody will be different. But the lack thereof of being able to see others' perspectives, most people think that if they ask you your opinion or perspective on a situation and you don't feed back to them what they think you should learn from it, they think that it was null and void, you didn't learn nothing. But in reality, it ain't for us to determine how somebody else learned. As long as they know, like, all right, cool, like, I didn't realize this, but now I do, and this is going to be something that I apply moving forward, then the information can be processed. At some point, they might get it, and we parents, you know, we men. So with that being the case, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of things you teach your daughter that she don't get the way you want. And you already go through it with your woman because it's been 10 years where it's like, yo, she don't even get it. But then at some point when she do, it's like, all right, cool. Like, you get it. You just ain't get it when I wanted you to get it. But that's okay. That's fine. As long as you got it the way you needed to, for it not to persist, essentially.
And like you said, the intent.
Yeah, for sure. What
were you saying, like, giving grace? Like, you know, you can give someone
grace. When the intent not. Right. Absolutely. But yeah, that'd be a whole nother conversation. Right. Because I done wrote a whole chapter about that in my first book. You know, just intent changes everything. And I think that's another thing where people just miss the mark. They miss the mark because they conclude your intentions to be what they assume them to be without actually getting to the root of your intentions. And this don't mean that intentions don't change outcome, but it does change intent. So it's like the outcome could be the outcome, but if someone's reasoning is not malicious or is not vindictive or spiteful, it changes the way it affects you.
Absolutely.
It don't change the way that the thing that happened, it changes the way you receive or perceive it happening, which can be all the differences to how you move forward and treat other people, or how you move forward treating a person that may have put you through that. You know, sometimes people might think, oh yeah, my dad don't want me going here. He's hating on me. He's trying to control me. My man don't want me wearing that. He's hating on me. And one of the last things I'll say before we land the plane is, like, ladies, y'all don't even understand, man. Y'all will put your whole motherfucking family in jeopardy just by how you dress, and don't even understand it. You thinking this man trying to control what you wear. He's trying to protect you. Like, I'm telling you, because the thing is, what sucks is men are men and women are women, right? But men get vilified and get monsterized, and that might not even be a word, but fuck it, we use that for the day, for men being men, right? So it's like, I should be able to wear my ass out and a man not be a man. But a woman can fall down, scrape her knee, and she's allowed to be a woman. It's like, cry, feel how you feel, scrape your knee. But when I say a man get villainized, it's like, a man's gonna be a man. You wear your ass out, a man gonna look. So now you out with your family, you out with your husband, you out with your man, whatever the case may be. You got your ass out, a man look. You're uncomfortable. That makes him uncomfortable. He got to make you feel comfortable again. What does that result in? You're putting your whole entire family in jeopardy because you want attention. Whether you see it that way or not, this ain't stemming from insecurity. This ain't stemming from control. This is stemming from protection. I wouldn't want my mom wearing certain shit. I'm not wanting my daughter wearing certain shit. And I don't want my woman wearing certain shit. I don't want my sisters wearing certain shit. I don't want my female cousins wearing certain shit. Not because of anything other than the fact that if they're not prepared to take the attention that it comes with, I don't want them wearing it. Not because it does anything for me, but it could do something to us if something happens to you behind how you're dressing, or you just come in feeling like everybody is stopping you and trying to. This don't mean you got to come out dressed like a nun. It just means understand the circumstances of what's going on. Mm-hmm. I could care less what a girl wear, right? But that's not don't mean I'm not conscious of what it attracts. Mm-hmm. And it's like y'all would put yourselves in the middle of the fire with no situational awareness. And then when a man trying to tell you what you walking into, you take him as the person that's attacking you or the person that's trying to prevent you. Whole time he trying to protect you. And that's just something I want y'all to understand. Y'all literally will save y'all family a lot of unnecessary conversations. You to your man, or just a man to man, based on y'all just knowing how to carry yourself and not needing that extra sense of validation. Because y'all try to frame it and phrase it like it ain't that, but we know what the fuck it really is. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for me. All right, that's fine. You doing it for you, but the fact of the matter is, look at what it's doing to you in the eyes of others. Do you want people to respect you, or do you want them to just look at you as a piece of meat? Don't complain about being objectified when you put yourself on the shelf. And I'm not saying that to come for y'all. I'm saying it because that's where it stems from, protection. Your man might have been trying to say this shit to you since the beginning of the time. You don't get it. I don't have no arm or leg in that fight between y'all to be telling you the same shit that he's saying. The way you dress could be putting your family in jeopardy, respectfully.
And like you said, walking to the fire, they like fire. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I know got they showers in. They shower water be hot like they trying to wash away their sins. Yeah. Damn. But all in all, we'll land there because there's a whole conversation we can go into in regards to that. And but we'll save it. We'll reserve that. So y'all already know, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. We've been home. It felt weird to be home. Yeah. It felt good. But it's the first 20 minutes, I'm just trying to like gather, like we home.
This my couch.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? This our shit. So
Ricky has my over
here. The fact that Ricky even back there is like, I ain't seen Ricky behind the screen in so long. I forgot Ricky. You know what? I'm gonna leave it there. But you already know, man, these are the conversations that we want y'all to take with y'all, because as y'all let people know, we grow and we want y'all to continue to get 1% better every single day and every single way. And before I even go all the way into the spill, one more time, man, shout out to the sponsors, Her Fantasy Box and K-Pack Law. 877 K-Pack Law, and get with him for any personal injury needs as well as any criminal needs, any representation in total. He's just a great resource to have. Make sure y'all give a K-Pack and make sure y'all shop with Her Fantasy Box. Ladies, shop for yourself. Fellas, shop for your ladies. And now let's get into it, man. 1% better every day in every single way. Take me here real quick. You know what I mean? We don't want y'all to gatekeep this information. Please spread the conversation. We are literally intentionally trying to build the 1%ers, and we actually need to take accountability for the fact that we haven't even been, and the people pay monthly to be in the community, and we giving a little bit of, we got way more we can give them. You know, we maybe we should drop some episodes soon or something to just kind of let them know, like, everything that we've been dealing with shouldn't affect y'all. You know what I'm saying? What happens up top should never affect what's going on inside the operation. So we'll make sure, you know, as we get 1% better, all of this is just a learning experience. And you know, we hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. As always, y'all already know where y'all can find me at. Wolf WSC. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you get the podcast. The Wolf Has Spoken podcast on all audio platforms, and then on YouTube is the Wolf Has Spoken podcast on the Wolf Network. Where can they find you at, Kip?
Right on Q Live, as in the right side on QUE Live.
Yeah, man. And we hope to see y'all in the 1% community. Take me here. We hope to see y'all in the 1% community. Join us as we all continue to grow and develop. And if y'all got anything that y'all want us to further elaborate on, feel free. We be seeing y'all DMs. We appreciate them. We don't always get a chance to get back to them, but trust and believe, we really do appreciate the love everywhere, no matter where we at. And we just want to continuously be able to further these conversations to help people get better, 1% better, and 1% better every day, every single way. And with that being said, man, I'm going here. Until next time, the Wolf Has Spoken. Let's get it. We out.
Yes, sir.